You don't love me because I clean the doormat.
To avoid a blame game, you don't have to go in a shame game. It's impossible to start doing something you don't want to do.
Second strategy, structured routines. Having PTSD, I look for emotional security.
Big risks, taking big risks.
It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to do it. I'm already getting a dopamine kick just by the idea of telling you guys how to fix this. Hello and welcome to the ADHD True Colors podcast, where we explore how to align our brains and tune our hearts, especially when you're in a relationship where one partner is neurotypical and the other one is neurodivergent. My name is Michaela. And since I have had a diagnosis having PTSD, I've realized that what before I experienced as extreme stress and skyrocketing anxiety is actually not just me. It is actually PTSD. And how is that for you, Rorick?
May I add something?
Yeah, sure.
Emotional reactivity.
Thank you. That indeed was the point that I was missing. Good. Okay.
I could see it in the queue. I was peeping like.
Good. I'm very emotionally reactive. Whenever something happens, it's like, pew, things go out. Get really serious and intense. Can I say that? So do you, but for a different reason?
Yeah. For me, it explains why I'm always looking for stimulation, why it's hard to concentrate, why routine tasks make me explode, or just like, no, this is not a routine task, but something like that.
In this podcast, we're going to talk about dopamine, the neurotransmitter that plays a huge role in our reward systems. It is what makes us want to do things. It is not the reward itself, but the anticipation of the reward. That's what makes you feel like doing it. And there's a huge difference in the way that an NT experiences this and the way an ADHD person handles our experiences, our deals with dopamine. Very different.
Having ADHD and being diagnosed and knowing that dopamine is actually the key to understand what is happening in the ADHD brain and why somebody with ADHD acts a little bit different or reacts a little bit different than the NT partner is indeed because it's a reward system and the motivation part. So getting into a task that is not very compelling takes much more energy for a person with ADHD than an NT person. And that's something most people can't understand. I lack the amount of dopamine to start doing something that is boring or routine or whatever. So dopamine, for example, is necessary for task initiation. If the dopamine is not there, it's not produced, it's impossible to start doing something you don't want to do.
Yeah, I can add, it's not like you don't want to do it or you are lazy. It is just you can't do it. And this is a very hard thing for neurotypicals to understand and very hard for ADHDers to explain.
And then you have the emotional regulation, which is completely different for a person with ADHD and an NT person. When we make dopamine, there's always the risk that we go into the red and don't stay in the green-orange zone that most people can stay in. Because it makes us happy, of course, just like it makes everybody happy to have this beautiful rush. And then, so if we are like very stressed or we experience shame because we didn't start something or we're too late or all this kind of stuff, in this mood, it brings you down and also the dopamine production goes down. And because it's already a difficult thing for our brain to do, making dopamine, it goes just like into nothing, into a shutdown. Or what I mean with this dopamine level going into red, sometimes when you go through a period which lacks dopamine for a long time, then my brain goes like searching, is there something I can do that would help me to produce this dopamine? Because there's no switch I can. That's what brings our brain into this stimulation seeking, which can be dangerous. Some people with an ADHD brain love big risks, taking big risks, which brings us to the conflicting situation that what I need to stimulate my brain can be very, very disturbing for a person with PTSD.
That is exactly correct. Because having PTSD, I look for emotional security and stability. I need to have something predictable, and very often predictable things tend to be a little bit boring at the same time, but it is and it's also, it makes me sometimes also feel bad about myself, because when I'm happy doing the dishes or cleaning up something or hanging out the wash on the washing line is something that can really appease my anxiety, annoy him. So as a partner, I sometimes feel inferior because I'm not exciting enough. I am very often just not capable to provide in what you need, and I want that so much because I'm also a people pleaser. And on the other hand, when you are finally or when
Vibrating.
when you find something that really excites you and gets your dopamine rush going there, I freak out because I need this. It's not predictable. I don't know what's gonna happen if he gets all wired up and ready to take action and risk. And this risk-taking behavior like accelerates my anxiety. So I really have to work on that anxiety and on my alignment with your brains and your neurologicals.
One brain.
Yes, one brain. That's big. Yeah. I'm sorry for that, guys. That's because we're not English but Flemish, and in Flemish brains are plural. But in English not. I only have one brain. Maybe it would be better if I had two. Imagine. I would be as smart as you, perhaps.
What I also notice is that, especially when you are already a little bit stressed, and I'm going in this higher level, and I start like vibrating a little bit, that you start scanning for everything that can go wrong.
Exactly.
But there's nothing happening. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
I start vibrating, and I just say like, okay, I'm gonna train my upper body for arm again. It's such a difficult.
You should choose another sport. I mean, it's if you can't say it, don't do it.
Yeah. If not, this RSD will kicking and then panic.
That's another podcast, by the way. We'll put the link in the description. That's another big thing. But
and I feel rejected and shame and all this stuff. But we were talking about the
dopamine. This is, after all, an ADHD True Colors podcast. So we're gonna see squirrels jumping by at any time.
Which squirrel?
Anywhere.
The moment when something changes,
I get on edge.
Yeah, and you start like, and then I think this comes from what you experienced with this by proxy Munchausen thing.
Yes. My mother had Munchausen by proxy, and she needed a lot of attention. She was also very narcissistic, and so she actually made me sick to get attention herself. And because there's nothing logical to that, nothing predictable about it, and it's very frightening when you have to go to hospital and get all kinds. You're really in danger, actually, as a small kid. It's these childhood traumas that you take into adulthood.
The hut.
The adult hut. The adult sweat hut.
It's a place where adults sweat. It's very hot today.
PTSD has its origins in childhood trauma, or very often it does. This means that you don't necessarily remember exactly what caused it, and the brain actually just looks for situations that maybe even only perceived threaten you. This is something that can, if somebody gets very excited or a project might get jeopardized because of its unpredictability, that can seriously bring down my dopamine levels. Because I can be very excited about things as well. I do make dopamine, and even quite easily. I have a very good operating dopamine system. But if it's jeopardized, or if I perceive it as jeopardized, which can happen when you are either not at all excited or very much excited, then I get scared and frightened and hypersensitive to anything that can go wrong, even if it's not going wrong at all.
Yeah, sometimes I feel you do only have two places to go. That or you go numb, or you...
Yeah, I very often get a total brain stop, like nothing works anymore, and then it's like a snowball effect going from worse to terrible.
Or this induced hyperfocus, which you learn to channel into a more positive direction. But before that, it was always like, and now I'm going to use this energy and this focus to stop you.
As I said in the beginning, having this diagnosis makes it much more realistic and feasible to practice mind-body awareness. I can learn to read what my body is telling me, because first the body reacts and then the brain will start doing what it does and producing all kinds of hormone cocktails, neurotransmitters, and this can seriously bug how you react and can stop any project that you're doing. One thing I also realize is that I would start moving in a very busy and non-coordinated way, thereby very often causing all kinds of mishaps.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very scary for you as well, I know, for me and for you.
Yeah, especially because I move fast, but I almost never break something.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, but I mean, not the things I've broken was most of the time was because I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say like, I don't like this thing anymore. I'm gonna break it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna atta until there's nothing left.
The hyperactivity of an ADHDer might resemble the erratic movement of somebody with PTSD, but it's not the same thing, because your hyperactivity comes from wanting to do something and searching for dopamine. My erratic way of moving when I'm scared is completely dysfunctional. It has nothing to do with risk taking. It has to do with a loss of control on the way I act.
Yeah, so you're fast, you're moving fast, but it's like a panic. Like somebody who is panicking, this person is also moving.
Like a person who's drowning.
Yeah.
When somebody's drowning and you try to save them, they will not very coordinated take you and hold on to you. They will...
There's a big risk if you go to save somebody who's drowning, that this person will pull you or smash you in the face or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the tricky part in keeping our relationship in balance is especially because what I need is stimulation, and when I feel bad I need stimulation, and when you feel bad you feel you need something to calm you down.
Yeah.
And that's really like the opposite.
These are two opposite energies.
So we always like pray that these moments that everything is going wrong for one doesn't
affect.
It's not very good to be in a bad mood and these both it will synchronize in the same moment. Then we have a problem.
Exactly. Now you might wonder what this results in. Now, imagine I wake up at 7 a.m. I sneak out of bed and I feel like doing something soothing, something that really makes me feel good at the beginning of this wonderful day. So I come into the hall, I see the doormat, and it's not clean. And I think, oh, it would be so nice if it's going to be clean. Imagine if I come in and the whole hall is clean and the doormat is clean. So I pick up the doormat, I go outside, and with a lot of rigor and enthusiasm, I start beating the doormat.
I peep out
Where is Michaela?
and I hear some noise and I say, ah, there she is. Especially because she's covered with dust. I mean, you can't imagine, like, she's there like a freak hitting these doormats. The wind blows from the opposite sides and the dust starts like changing her slowly but surely into the direction of becoming a character that would fit in a Mad Max movie.
How am I supposed to know that this dust is coming towards me? I have no clue.
Yeah, but then I feel myself in a precarious situation because
You will start negotiating.
yeah, because I want to say to her like, Michaela, there's a problem. I mean, you're covered in dust, and I can't come closer because I already can feel it in my nose. This hypersensitivity.
High sensitivity.
Yeah. And although there's still this barrier of the window, I think like, what can I do? Bring her the information that I'm not gonna have a hug, and until she goes and clean herself, take a shower, put her clothes into the washing machine.
Yeah, and this makes me feel really guilty because, my morning hug, that is something really important to then again level up my oxytocin levels. That's a hormone. That's your affection, your tenderness. That's how I say, hi, dude, I love you.
And I think like, how can I bring this information to her?
And also, he's not happy because I cleaned the doormat. Very disappointing. You don't love me because I cleaned the doormat.
To me, it sounds very bizarre to have to give somebody a compliment who cleaned the doormat. I mean,
that is exactly what this podcast is about. There's different energies, but hang on there. We're gonna tell you how.
Especially because it goes from a dirty doormat into a clean doormat. That's right. Mm-hmm. But it goes from a clean partner into a very dirty partner.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, a Mad Max character.
Isn't that super exciting? You didn't get it. I was trying to make things exciting for you. I mean, Mad Max, what is it else than adventure and suspense, utopian paradise for ADHDers? There you have it.
Yeah. But you want your hug, and I have to say, like, keep your distance. And I have to say this, keep your distance in a very polite way, and a very sensitive way, and a charming way. And I don't feel like that.
Oh, no, you don't. It's very annoying. Very annoying. Because it's for me, it's a spun foiler. No. You see, just thinking about it makes my brain go. But hang on there, because we did find a solution. Maybe not for the small things that you can easily step over, but as you have already figured out, especially if you're in an ADHD-NT relationship, that these hurdles can also be much more serious, and especially if they start stacking. Because that can happen as well. One partner starts doing something, and then the other partner comes in and reacts, and then tack, 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 and after 5 or 10 triggers that are stacked, then it's explosion, and then everything goes down the drain. But it is possible to prevent this, and we will tell you how.
Will we?
Yes, we will. And it's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to do it. I'm already getting a dopamine kick just by the idea of telling you guys how to fix this.
Okay.
Tools that work for us. We use a principle that comes from the military. It's called the RV point. RV stands for rendezvous.
And that's French.
And that's French, yeah. When a team is on a mission and things get chaotic, then they have fixed, before they started the mission, an RV point, a place on the map where they know every member of the team can go to when things go wrong.
Or when we lose each other.
Exactly. So if you're on a mission and you lose each other as a team member, you know where to go to. Look on your map, find your RV point, get your ass over there, and there will be your team members waiting for you, or you will be waiting for your team members to arrive.
So the first thing we do, and that's a routine, is our daily morning check. Like, how do you feel? Did you sleep well? Can you remember your dreams? And then we start like talking about these things to check.
In these conversations, we already like fathom how are we feeling, and how is the other person, how is the team member feeling.
You also can do this in very small things, like, for example, we both like eating yogurt, a small delicious snack. And when for example, we have been working in the morning for a few hours, then we say like, you feel like a snack? And when both say yes, and then what we're gonna do is like prepare this with a banana in it and some nuts in it, and that's a very nice moment to recalibrate, because we do this body doubling thing, but sometimes you can wander off, even when you're doing this body doubling thing. And when it's wandering off in work, then if you're not in a stress situation, or at this moment not having a deadline, then it doesn't matter so much if you just wander off. But you also can wander off emotionally, and then come together around this one fixed RV point, eating yogurt. For us, it's really a very simple trick to recalibrate,
Exactly.
if necessary. Because sometimes just like fun, because we're diagnosed now, both, and we know what's bothering us. It's much easier to start understanding, with this knowledge, to start understanding the other one, why my partner is doing what she is doing.
And I can understand why you are doing or not doing, because sometimes it's also a matter of this misunderstanding that ADHDers are lazy, and then you start judging, and there you have it again. Before you know it, you're in the blame game. But that never, ever, ever has solved anything. So stay out of it. We can't repeat that enough. It's so crucial to understand, okay, what's going on in the brains.
You also can accept that the difference is actually like a different operating system. You work on a Mac, and I prefer Linux, but some things I can't do in Linux, so I have to use Microsoft stuff. And then getting things I create into her computer is sometimes a problem and stuff like that. Sometimes we have conflicts. We don't have conflicts, but operating systems.
You can compare it with that. You're trying to bring out the metaphor between computer operating systems that maybe perform the same tasks but operate in a completely different way and need a lot of attention to become compatible. But it is possible. I think it's better possible for us humans than it is for these digital operating systems, to be honest.
Actually, you have to find the problems your operating system has to start understanding yourself. And when the other person can share what it is that is an obstacle in doing whatever, then it's much easier, because the frontal lobe, the cognitive brain, can understand this. And if there's no understanding, then there is only like emotional control. You have to control yourself. And because I suffer very often of this RSD, there's much more trust, because I know, or there's a big chance I know what she's feeling, or it's easier for me to understand what she's feeling, that I dare to share stuff that I didn't dare before, because I always thought like, if I say this or that, then she's gonna react in a negative way, and then I'm gonna feel like offended or rejected, and then it's just like building up and building up. And a good example was like a few days ago, we had been working very hard, and I said to her like, what do you think about having a
nap?
A nap, a power nap.
A power nap.
So I got ready to jump in bed, and I was lying there and I thought, oh shit, actually.
Me too. We both went into bed, and I felt kind of tired actually. So I was sort of looking forward and producing some dopamine to have to have a rest and a rewarding time together, quietly, soothing,
Yeah,
resting.
and in the same moment, my reward system was also working very, very hard because I knew that we had uh, reached our goal, and I was so happy. Like, yeah, we did it together. Have had
Yeah.
no problems at all. And this was,
Everything went smooth.
yeah, so smooth, and I
Uh-huh.
felt like, yeah, actually, you should celebrate this. And so slowly the napping went like, I said, but I'm not gonna share this because she's really, she feels
I was
tired.
already dozing off.
Yeah. And I said, honey, I'm gonna try to say this with a very low level of energy in my voice, although it was still there. I really would like to go to the village and get me something to snack on, something that we normally never eat, like potato chips or something. And she's like, oh yeah, wonderful. And she jumped out of bed and started acting like a ADHD.
Yeah.
And then we had a wonderful walk, and we walked like, what is it, about 20 kilometers.
Yeah, we had a huge walk. But that is something that I have noticed, and it's very interesting. By tuning into each other's neurological systems and not fighting our emotions, but tuning in, which is two very different things, I find myself sometimes becoming a little bit more ADHD. And eventually, in the beginning, it's a bit weird because I don't really recognize myself. But as we explore this more and more, actually, I find it very exciting and fascinating. And it really, this boost of dopamine that I can apparently get as well. Even when a plan changes from having a nap to, okay, let's put on our walking boots and head to town and go walk for the next 3 or 4 hours and get a packet of potato chips as a reward. I really enjoy that. I felt so good and so alive. That is the whole thing, you know. When you talk about dopamine and the only thing you're aiming for is this soothing, calm, predictable, peaceful thing, boring thing. And you never have this enthusiasm and this, oh yes, we're gonna do this, then life is less fascinating. And I feel like exploring this and discovering this, I'm much more alive. It's
I think it goes in.
It's huge. I love it.
I think it goes in both directions.
Uh-huh.
Because now I know that why she needs this moment of calm in her life, and I understand this. That sometimes I can tune into this and feel much, especially when I say like, okay, I'm gonna do like a meditation or a mindfulness exercise, and she's really calm, ready to go to bed and stuff like that, and I'm still like a little bit vibrating.
Uh-huh.
I think it should be better for me to calm down and saying to yourself like, calm down, it's time to calm down now. Calm down. I said, calm down.
Damn it!
Whatever. I'm gonna do some 40 push-ups and then I will be calm. No, you're tired, but you're not calm.
Uh-huh.
And like the way sometimes you start like this kind of, sometimes I never was able to do this before, but now I can tap into this, and it doesn't work always, of course. I have an ADHD brain, so but sometimes it really helps me to take this first step into, and that's a new experience.
Yeah, so we both discover a lot of new things, and they're quite amazing. Here are some strategies that you can use in an NT-ND relationship that will help you tune your brains. The approach is generally body, mind, holistic, as in these things, what's in your head and your whole body is very important to take in consideration. So the first strategy is open communication. This means you have to talk openly about your emotions, but also about how you feel, how your body feels, because this will work much better because it will not trigger the emotions of your partner. And that is the key point in this open mind or open communication.
Yeah, but there is an open communication that all the people, the experts, the therapists talk about, like non-violent communication and open communication.
Uh-huh.
But there's another kind of open communication, and it's being radical honest, but based on the research and not based on what you feel or what you think about the other one, because it's never about the other one. You always start with yourself. That's very important.
Uh-huh.
And you start with yourself, not by saying like, I'm not doing this and I'm bad in this. To avoid the blame game, you don't have to go in a shame game. And that's very important because it has to do nothing at all with shame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are my triggers, and I know these are my triggers. So when I feel like something is triggered,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be radical honest about this, and I say, listen, love, I feel this is triggering me now. And I have to find a way out, otherwise this will start like building up, and I don't want to have the crocodile jump in my face.
Second strategy, structured routines. This also comes from the military, and it helps a lot for the ADHD brain to get ready for an upcoming task. It sometimes seems a bit strange to me, but it's very effective for you. So, what do you do in the morning when you want to start a task and to get yourself going?
Yeah, first of all, if you don't like the army, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm a mountain guide, and as a mountain guide, you learn the same structured routines. Like you have to get all your gear in the right place and stuff like that. Actually explains why I like so much being in the mountains. On one hand, it's the adrenaline that helps me to get from not enough having not enough dopamine into adrenaline, and that helps. But on the other hand, it's also the structure, and it's a little bit different when we do it in our workplace, because then when I get up, the thing that I have to do is, okay, after breakfast we start working, and so I have to prepare my desk, and I always have my desk empty, and I have to build it up again. The same thing for my bed. When I wake up, it's not empty, but what I do is like I make my bed always. And it's a very small tip, and like my brother, for example, he just laughs. He's like, "Come on!" He's also ADHD. He said, "Come on! It's like a routine. I can't do this. It doesn't interest me." And that's true because it's a very boring, stupid thing to do. But it only takes like 2 minutes. And everything you can do in less than 5 minutes, you have to do it now. If it will help you, of course. So I make my bed, 2 minutes, and I make it as perfect as I can make a bed. And the advantage is when I walk out of the bedroom, then I feel like I already have accomplished something. I feel like, okay, that's one. And because I do it every day, it has become a routine. And because it has become a routine, I don't have to think about it. But still, I get the good hormones afterwards. And then we have breakfast. And after this breakfast, or during the breakfast, we check the emotional state. Then we clean. We empty the table. And I'm going to use the same table for my desk. And I start building my desk, like putting the computer and the laptop and my pencils and stuff like that. And it's almost like an autistic ritual, but it really helps to get me over this. And I don't, if I start with something big, like just put on the computer and start working, then sometimes it's so big and so confronting that I just can't get enough dopamine to start working. But I have to take a box with pencils and take it from place A to place B. It worked. When I take my laptop and put it next to the monitor, then it works. When I plug it in, it works. And it's all it's very small things, but it's all the time. Everything when I do this, like tick tick, it works. I put something down, it works. I put on power, it works. And it really pumps my, not pumping iron, but pumping the right hormone cocktails to get into the work.
Very important when you're a neurotypical partner is don't mingle with your ADHD partner's affairs. Don't think that it's up to you to tidy up and reorganize his stuff, his working tools, that will really destroy his daily routine. It might seem a little bit messy to you, but I assure you, don't touch it, don't talk about it, don't start a rant about it, because if you're walking on the same path and you're following the same mission, then you will figure out that his routine works for him, and as it develops, it will get more efficient and things will tidy up all by themselves, and the general stress levels will go down significantly.
So what I just explained is in micro steps going for positive reinforcements. So it's actually activating the reward system with very tiny little bits. And that helps because it makes like a step from this to a very small step.
Celebrating small victories is very important for both neurotypical and ADHD partners. Whenever you succeeded in doing something together, even if it's just a small step in the project, be mindful about it and celebrate and notice fun. Hey, we transferred this information. It all went very well. We finished a podcast. We have prepared the script with both our input and
it can be very small things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I explained these different operating systems. And that means like the word processor was a different program. And we just went to the same program or the same software. And now it's so much easier because I'm used from Linux using this LibreOffice. And now I can help her and it really feels good.
Sometimes you have to take this small hurdle and step over something that triggers you. But if you're very mindful and it works, and you stay open and receptive to what help you're offering each other, then you get things done, and you should not just pretend like it's normal. Really celebrate this.
And guys, we are not therapists, so we're not professionals. Just like a mountain guide, I wouldn't advise you to climb a mountain, but I can give you tips on how to climb a mountain or what to take along. And that's actually what we are doing here. So if you're really struggling with serious problems like PTSD or even ADHD, search and go for somebody who is professional and can help you through this.
We both experience therapy individually and as a couple. We figured out that it's not always easy to find the therapist that is skilled enough to understand the complexity of certain problems, especially in neurotypical, neurodivergent relationships. So even a diagnosis can sometimes be a bit complicated. Maybe you'll have to do a little bit of effort to find the therapist that works for you. Maybe you have to change a couple of times, and that's okay. Look for help and don't sit there until things go really bad. Also, we promise you in one of the next podcasts, we will dive into this topic and share with you our personal experiences with therapists, what worked, what didn't, what are the pitfalls, and what are the...
And also the fact that sometimes you need therapy and sometimes you don't. Like sometimes as an intelligent ADHD person, I like to solve problems. So sometimes I don't need therapy and I just don't want to talk to anybody, especially somebody who doesn't understand me. People who are professional or specialized in one thing, and it's very hard for them to start thinking like I am thinking. And they have their degrees because they don't have the same problem I have. And that's very important. It can go up and sometimes you need a lot of help and sometimes you don't need help. And you just like to figure it out for yourself.
Nature is beautiful and it's also very diverse. It's never monotonous, and that's what we love about it. We don't want to be identical. We don't want to become a copy of the other one. We want to embrace the difference, enjoy it because it's beautiful. We want to meet at this rendezvous point. But how we get there doesn't necessarily have to be by the same paths.
So I think what's important is in a couple is to set these RV points. So every time when you lose each other, you can come back to these points. And these points can be a small ritual or a small place, something you both like doing. Some people like to go to the sauna, do it in the sauna. Some people like to train together, do it in the training. It doesn't matter how you do it. And if you have an idea and you think this idea can help other or inspire other people, please put it in the comments. But it's very important that you have these rendezvous points or these meeting points, that every time when you go like a separate way and it starts hurting, they say like, hello, what about going to this rendezvous point, this RV point, and come back, do this thing, whatever the small ritual is, and start over.
Now, you need a compass to find this RV point, and I will tell you for me what it looks like, and then I'm gonna ask you what your compass looks like. My compass is the mind-body connectedness. I go into my body, I feel how I feel, and I look for this feeling of longing for trust and connection, and maybe you can call it love if you want to, and I guess that's what it is, but it's a warm, and it's something that is so important, and my body will react, and that's how I go back the RV point that we have convened upon. How do you use your compass?
I think my compass is about meaning. As you have the meaning of life, you can also ask yourself, what is the meaning of our relationship? When I feel lost, I say like, yeah, what I like is our morning talks, because she's open to what I have to say.
Me too.
In my opinion, we live in hard times. There are so many people who are depressed, feel lonely. There are so many people who commit suicide these days. That having a partner you can share something with is so important. It's so the opposite of all this hardship. This is something I have to cherish, because it's something precious, and we have to keep it and nurture it. And that's what I do when I feel lost. I think like, this is not going the way I want. I feel stressed out in this relationship, and maybe I have to do something different, because everybody has these questions sometimes. Then I say like, okay, calm down, sit down, and feel. What do you feel? What is important to you? And that's the meaning.
So remember, it's not about becoming the same, but about tuning your brains and connecting your hearts. So, we're very curious to hear how you deal with dopamine issues. What role does it play in your life? What things work for you? And where do you get stuck with this whole dopamine thing? So please leave your comments so all the other people of the community can read them and we can talk about it. Also, please like and subscribe if you want to help grow the channel. Take care about yourself. Make sure you enjoy life.
If you have ideas on how to get your dopamine
in a healthy way.
In a healthy way, please share it.
Yeah. So take care, you guys, and see you in the next ADHD True Colors podcast. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.